Thank you.
All right, welcome in everybody to our virtual college exploration for all Ohio students, sponsored by our Ohio Association for College Admission Counseling and StriveScan. Thank you again for joining us. Just a few table setting housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Or you can wait till the questions session at the end if you feel more comfortable doing so, but do know that you can use that Q&A button at any time. Having said that, that's the only way to ask questions. Your camera and microphone are off during the session, so panelists cannot see or hear you. It creates a distraction-free and clean environment for the presentation to go off without a hitch. And just so you know, this is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out all the full schedule at oacac.org. And this presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at the same website, oacac.org, so you can check this out if you want to review the information or look for the contact information for the counselors, or if there's a session that you weren't able to attend, you can check those out on demand. And now I'd like to turn it over to our presenters.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to get to talk to you all today about Berea College. My name is Rhea Carter, and I am an admissions representative, for Ohio. And I graduated from Berea this past May with a degree in communication. Just to get you a little bit more familiar, Berea College is a private liberal arts college located in Berea, Kentucky, which is in central Kentucky. And so if you have any questions during this presentation, feel free to drop them in that Q&A box, and my colleague Brittany, who's on the call, will do her best to answer them. So right off the bat, I want to let y'all know what Berea does for every one of its students. Every student admitted into Berea receives a full tuition scholarship valued at $176,000. There are no gimmicks. This is a completely guaranteed no tuition promise. We will ask that you pay room and board, which will include like your meal plan, dorm costs, textbooks, and things like that. But the amount that you pay is determined by your expected family contribution, which you will receive when you fill out your FAFSA. So on average, Berea students who end up taking out loans graduate with over $20,000 less debt than other students in Kentucky and nationally, as you can see in this chart right here. And if we factored in Berea students who do not have to take out any loans at all, that number of course gets much smaller. So in order to be admitted into Berea and ultimately receive this no tuition promise or a full tuition scholarship, you have to financially qualify for a federal Pell Grant. And again, that is determined when you fill out that FAFSA. So next we have academic excellence. And because we invest so much money into our students, we want to make sure they come away with a really quality education. We are a four-year college. We only offer bachelor degrees, so we don't have any technical or grad programs. But with that being said, we do have a lot of different academic opportunities for our students to explore. There are over 60 areas of study here at Berea. That means you can double major, you can double minor, or you could just focus on what you're most interested in and major in that. We have a great agricultural and sustainability program because we have our very own farm and greenhouse right on campus. We also have an excellent nursing program for those interested in the healthcare field. We have professional tracks such as pre-med and pre-vet, and our education program is very popular here at Berea. But if you don't find anything that you're looking for in those areas or the other ones, listed, there are also opportunities for students to pursue an independent major in which you can work with a faculty member, and if you get approved, you can actually design your own degree. So that's an option as well. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in that Q&A box and Brittany can answer. Next, we have our work program. And so this is another really unique thing about Berea. This program is designed so that every student attending Berea works 10 to 12 hours each week at a job right on campus. And so this is one of the ways that Berea is able to stay tuition free and it allows students to gain experience and cash while working on campus. So for instance, you don't have to go out to a fast food restaurant and try to schedule those shifts. You have a job right on campus, and your supervisor knows that you're a student working. So there are over 300 positions around campus, and that's so that you can find the best fit for you personally. There are opportunities to get on as a TA, for instance. If you're interested in studying biology, you might get on as a TA for a biology professor. We also have service-oriented positions. We have office jobs. I mentioned the greenhouse and farm earlier. You can have a job helping with the animals and plants, and the list goes on. There are a ton of different positions available on campus. But as a first year, you will be assigned a position by the college. But if you submit a resume, and we can talk a little bit more about that later on, they will take that into account and try to match you with a position that you are actually interested in and want to gain experience in your first year. Otherwise, you can choose later on after your first year. And another big thing is that you can actually earn $2,000 your first year. That's your money to save or spend however you'd like. So next is our student support and success. First, we have move-in day, and this is an awesome tradition at Berea. This is when our first year students all move in on the same day. President Ruloff, he's in this picture right here, and his wife, First Lady Lori, help students move in. There are also community members, faculty, and staff that help as well. It's just a really good day for everyone to come together as a community and welcome the new class. I remember my first year, I was really impressed that the president of the college was helping me move in. So next we have residence halls. The residence halls on campus really strive to be as comfortable and welcoming as possible. Every first year room comes with a mini fridge, and that's free of charge. We also have free laundry services in each hall. There are study rooms, there are recreational rooms, we have ping pong tables, for instance. There's community kitchens and lounges in each of these residence halls. There are also student life reps in each hall that work to make your first year as community-based and fun as possible. And there are always cool events going on at the dorms. My freshman year, I remember I went to an event all about snakes, and froyo was catered, so that was really cool. Things like that are always happening, though, in the residence halls. Next, we have student success and transition. And this is a center that's entirely dedicated to addressing needs of first-year students. Student success and transition can get students in contact with the math lab, the writing labs, counseling services, health services, and other support networks. That way that when you first come onto campus and you feel a little bit overwhelmed and you want a shoulder to lean on, that's what student success and transition is there for. Next, we have clubs and organizations, and there are a lot of opportunities to get more involved on Berea's campus and build those lifelong connections you always hear college students talking about. And there are a lot of interests represented at Berea. For instance, there is the Appalachian Student Union, which is one I like to talk about because I was involved when I was a student. There are also the African Student Association and Latin American Student Association. There are service opportunities like Berea Buddies, which is one I also like to talk about. This is an after-school mentoring program which helps with local elementary students tutoring. It's really cool. And there are also faith-based organizations like CREW, which is a national organization. And these groups usually schedule meetings and events after most students are done with work and class. So that is never really a conflict with time. Next, we have performing arts. Again, Berea has a very vibrant and active performing arts community. So if that's something you're interested in, there are several types of ensembles and troupes to be a part of. One of our most popular groups is the Black Music Ensemble, which is a choir that sings mostly gospel songs. And it's very inclusive. Faculty, staff, and community members are welcome to join as well. So you get like a really tight-knit community in that ensemble in particular. They're also like the Bluegrass Ensemble, the Folksroot Ensemble. We have an amazing theater and dance programs, which are also really popular to participate in and watch. The theater department puts on 4 shows a year. So again, a very vibrant community that a lot of students like to participate in. Again, if you have any questions, I know this is a lot of information, please drop them in that Q&A box and Brittany will do her best to help you all out. Next is our study abroad opportunities. And this was one of the best parts of my time at Berea, was studying abroad. And I know a lot of students say the same. If you're interested in studying abroad as a student at Berea, definitely go check out the Center for International Education, and they help out a lot. The great thing about studying abroad at Berea in particular is that Berea funds a lot of the experience that you choose. And so some trips are more pricey than others, but I have heard of students paying little to nothing for an abroad experience. That is not a rare thing on Berea's campus for a student to pay literally $0 to go study abroad, either for a summer or a semester. I studied abroad in Greece for 6 weeks, the summer after my sophomore year, and it was an experience of a lifetime. I came out with very little costs for studying abroad for 6 weeks. Next, we have internships. So internships are another awesome way for gaining experience in the field that you want to go into after college. So Berea really focuses on this. Berea students have interned all over the country, from Louisville to Los Angeles. You can see in that picture right there for the internships, there's a student sitting next to the LA. She interned with the LA Dodgers. And so as you may know, internships are usually unpaid, and students have to figure out their own housing and meals while on an internship site. So to make sure our students are never worried about that stuff, Berea pays up to 2 internship experiences during your 4 years. And the college will give you funding based on where you choose to do your internship. For instance, I interned in rural North Carolina, and I received enough money to live there for 3 months while doing my internship. Next, we have career development. Career development is another awesome department at Berea. Not only do we want you to have the best college experience as possible, of course, we also want to prepare you for what life looks like after college. And that's why Berea can pay for tests to go to grad school, med school, law school. We also have a great professional clothing grant where students can apply to get up to $300 to purchase brand new business attire. And that's actually how I purchased my first suit, was through this grant. So things like that are always happening in career development. It's a great department to go check out. Next is our student support centers. So not only does Berea support you in all those ways I just mentioned, but there are actually specific centers on campus designed to make sure you have a successful 4 years. For instance, every Berea College student gets free dental services, like fillings and cleanings. And there's also an opportunity to get student insurance at a low cost if you come into college with no insurance. We also have quality counseling services right on campus, which are completely free. And the CTL is there to make sure every student gets some extra writing support if needed. Public safety, of course, is always on campus. If you feel unsafe, just give them a call. If you need a ride somewhere, you give them a call. Pretty standard campus safety. And we, of course, have our Office of Disability and Accessibility services. So if you ever need to talk to those folks about disability or accessibility services, they're there to do that. Okay, next we have athletics. So if you are interested in sports, we have several intercollegiate teams to look into. I'm not going to read this entire list, but as you can see, we have sports like basketball, baseball, and soccer, for example. We are NCAA Division III, so we compete on that level. But if you want to stay active and you don't want to compete like on that level, we also have intramural sports. We have intramural basketball, soccer, and ping pong, to just name a couple. But if you are interested in athletics, that's definitely something to let your representative or counselor know down the road, and we can get you in touch with a coach if necessary. So next we have the admissions process, and this is the bulk. So when you start applying to Berea, there are a few things that are necessary to submit to us along the way. First is that application, of course, which is online and it's pretty painless to fill out. And we're actually going to drop that link in the Q&A box, or if that's not possible, we can certainly email different students if you need that direct link, but it's pretty easy to find. It's berea.edu/apply. And then we also want your academic transcripts from your high school. And you should be able to just request that from your school and they send us a copy. Next is the school counselor evaluation form. So this is a form we give to your counselor at your school to just get to know you a little bit better. Next, we are actually test score optional this year. So that means that you can submit the ACT or SAT if you feel like it's a good reflection of you as a student. However, if you don't feel that way, or if you don't have any scores to submit, no worries. We are optional this year, mainly because of the pandemic. Next, we also ask for a teacher recommendation form. So this needs to be from a core teacher, such as math, science, social studies, or English. And it's preferably from a teacher that you've had since at least your junior year. And that's just so that they know you enough as a student to really be able to fill out that recommendation. And finally, we require a FAFSA to be submitted so that we can gauge if you are eligible to attend Berea, and also what your expected family contribution is towards room and board. And then these key dates on the left are some deadlines for your full submission. So on October 31st, Halloween, we have an early action deadline for those who want to be ahead of the game. And this is non-binding, so it's not a full commitment or anything. This just lets us know that you're serious about being considered for admission. And in exchange for that, we'll give you a decision before Christmas. So if you do get that October 31st deadline, you'll get that decision before Christmas. We also have a priority deadline, November 30th, and you should find out in about mid-February if you've been accepted, if you choose to do the priority deadline. Then of course is March 31st, which is our final deadline. And October 1st, the FAFSA comes out. So that's an important part of the admissions process as well. And we also have application boosters. So this is alongside your application. You can also submit what we call application boosters. So these are just more things that let your admissions team, your counselor know, get to know you, and ultimately make an admission decision. So they're optional, but they're very encouraged if you want to stand out in this admissions process. First, we have recommendation letters. So these can be from anyone who knows you well as a student or a community member. It could be your scout troop leader, or a religious leader, for instance, or another teacher, but those are important. Next, we have a personal statement. It's a good reflection of who you are, your personality, your interests. This is pretty standard for a college application, a personal statement. Next is a college resume, and this is actually useful in seeing what you are most passionate about and experienced in when deciding what work assignment you'll have at Berea College. Like I mentioned earlier, this might help them place you in a position that you are interested in and want to gain more experience in. Next, a campus visit. This could be virtual or in person. A lot of people are doing virtual nowadays, of course, but you'll just have to schedule that in advance. Again, we can give you guys that link. I'm not sure if we're able to drop it in that Q&A right now, but we can get you set up there. That's just a request form, and then they can schedule you for that campus visit. And finally, a quick completion is getting your application in by one of those early deadlines I mentioned last slide. Again, this just shows us that you're really serious about being considered for admission at Berea College. But if you are thinking about applying to Berea, go ahead and start on that online application after this call so that you can be assigned an admissions counselor. And then once you are assigned a counselor, they can help you get through the rest of these things and get those turned in, and you'll be applied to Berea College. So these are just some counselors' information, but that's not going to be like super relevant until you get assigned a counselor. And finally, if you have any questions, again, just drop them in that Q&A box. Brittany can answer them right now. Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope you have a great day.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Just a couple quick reminders: when you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. You can also watch this recording about a week from now on oacac.org if you want to gather more information or review anything that you saw, or go back to that slide and get that contact information. But also certainly do encourage you to reach out on the website for Berea College as well to search for information there. Also, this is just one of many sessions being hosted, so obviously be sure to sign up for additional sessions that you might be interested in at oacac.org. Thank you so very much to our presenters and to everyone that attended, and have a great day. We'll see you soon.